Hello everyone, Dr. Arsha here, and today I want to discuss about fenbendazole. Could it cure cancer? Does it have a cytotoxicity against cancer cell and so on? And the reason I'm making this video because there are so many different views on the internet. Some people say yes, it can cure, some people say it cannot cure, and etc. etc. So I'm not advocating of taking fenbendazole or stopping your chemotherapy or take it or not take it. It's totally out of my topic. I just sharing the information I did research on, and the rest is up to you. So please don't take it as a medical advice. So let's get into it. The main thing for fenbendazole, when the discussion starts, the problem is most of the people do not have a clear understanding of what does the cancer cell act and what is their nature. So the majority of the people right now, if you ask, they say cancer cells are a bunch of cells that mutation happen, that much they know, and then they start to rapidly replicate and basically invade all the different organs, as well as disrupting the metabolism, and eventually it will cause the person to die. So that's the majority of the view of the society. But in reality, not all the cancer cells can unlimitedly replicated. Within all cancer tissue, there are some cancer stem cell or CSCS. So these cancer stem cells are the ones that are responsible for replicating all that tissue. The rest of the cells, the rest of the cancer cells they can replicate, but they are not as potent as and active as the cancer cell. That's why when you use chemotherapy, you use different type of anti-cancer drugs, some of the tissue will dissolve and destroy, but then it will come back. And the reason that it come back is those cancer stem cells. So the specification about the cancer stem cells is one is they unlimitedly replicated. Like I remember I was working with a cancer cell from the breast cancer of somebody who donated in 1960s. So still the cell line was there and still be using it. So that's one thing. Another thing is they can easily mutate and become resistant towards the drugs. Specific protein p53 or anti-tumor or tumor controlling protein, which all the cells has it, deactivated within the cancer stem cells. So this protein job is when the cells start to replicate unnaturally, it kind of terminate the cell. So it stopped that process, but they don't have that. So that specific part of the DNA doesn't transcribe. So I hope you understand what I mean. But if you don't, please leave the question and I will try my best to answer you. So that's how the cancer works. So we understood within the cancer cell there are stem cells. They can replicate much faster. They can get resistance. They can do mutation. Moral of the story, when people talk about the fenbendazole, the reality is, as I'm going to explain, based on the laboratory work and individual experience, there are some good evidence that it can control some cancers, but it doesn't mean that it necessarily can cure all type of cancers. Like for example, till today, there has been no work done on leukemia. I haven't found one yet that they tested for the effectiveness of the fenbendazole. However, for breast cancer, prostate cancer, liver cancer, as well as small cell lung cancer, and so many others, there are good evidence that it can interfere with the cancer cells. So what type of laboratory work has been done and what hasn't been done yet? So basically, at this moment, we understand that fenbendazole have three main pathways to control the cancer cells. And these are all come from the laboratory, whether direct cell research or at the animal research. it's already, the result is out there, and they could excuse me, and they could identify this matter. So what are those three pathways? One is microtubule disruption. Microtubules is type of protein that produced within the cell, and they play an important role for cell division as well as cell structure and cell framework. Therefore, if some drugs can be interfere with the production of this microtubule, basically it causes the cell to go to the apoptosis and death. The second pathway is inhibition of the glucose uptake. So fenbendazole basically interrupt. So fenbendazole by nature, because of the rings that it has, it can interfere with the receptors of the cell. Therefore, the cell cannot uptake, the cancer cell cannot uptake the glucose. Again, for this, I need to little bit go deeper so you can understand, because there are many different pathways for cells to get the glucose inside. Mainly, there are two pathways: active transport and non-active transport. In non-active transport, there are some kind of receptor on the cell which cause GLUT receptors that they made for transport of the glucose into the cell, and they are very sensitive to insulin. So when there's the insulin level goes up, these transport pathway will be activated. Mostly, for example, muscle cell has these, and there are some studies that cancer cell also can use this pathway. Again, there are other pathway. As I said, there's an active transport. For active transport, cell will use energy to transport glucose in. There's another pathway that calls sodium glucose transport, that with using energy, cell will transport sodium, and while it transports sodium out, it will accept the glucose inside. So these are the different pathways. It has been proved that fenbendazole, by interrupting this pathway, it stopped the cancer cell from uptaking glucose. And as you know, because cancer cell mitochondria doesn't work very well, so all the dependency of the cancer cell goes to glycolysis. Well, glycolysis is a process that cell absorb the glucose and then it break it to 2-pyruvate, and then from there it will produce little bit of ATP. The amount of ATP this process will be produced is not comparable with a normal cell. However, because it's very fast, this cell become like a hungry ghost and continuously get the glucose into the cell and use it, as I said, in the glycolysis process and produce the ATP. So that's why when fenbendazole interrupting this process, it really reduced the chance of cancer cell from surviving. And lastly, if you remember what I just said about the cancer stem cells, their p53 protein is not activated anymore. Apparently, fenbendazole can activate the transcription of this part of DNA, which cause the basically production of the p53. And since p53 is a tumor suppressive protein, it suppresses the cell from non-stop replication. And then there is a discussion that whether it turned the cell to the normal cell, or basically by interrupting this system it just eliminates the cell, which that's the most possible stories. Well, based on these researches, we can establish very ground information that yes, fenbendazole can cure and destroy cancer cells. However, fenbendazole is not very water soluble. It's not a very water soluble molecule. It is hydrophobic, and therefore distribution within the body is a little bit tricky. So I believe in the future, if they want to make a medicine based on fenbendazole, as they need to work on the distribution of this drug, which it's not that kind of difficult things to do. It is not that difficult. It's highly possible, and it's a very easy way to go and approach it. Only from the point of distribution I'm talking about, not anything else. So that's one of the things. This was the research lab. This was the laboratory research. The problem is that fenbendazole haven't go through the human trial, and the reason for that, it's not profitable for any company to put lots of money to prove that fenbendazole is a anti-cancer drugs. It doesn't have patent and it doesn't make that much money. So that's one of the main reason. I think governmental organizations such as CDC or even WHO, they should be the one that provide money for the human trial on the fenbendazole. But that's out of this topic. So what are the other information that we have that prove that fenbendazole can act as an anti-cancer drugs? This is the individual testimony, such as Mr. Joe Typen. Joe Typen, Goetippens. This guy got the small cell lung cancer, and it was stage 4, and basically he believed there was not much time left for him, so the perception of his life expectancy was very short. So he started to get fenbendazole, and the drug cleared his cancer, so he's now 100% fine. And there are total of 110,000 people, individuals, that have taken fenbendazole, and based on that, they have showed the testimony that they recovered. Some of them only take fenbendazole, some of them take it with ivermectin, some of them take it in combination of other drugs that the doctor was giving them. But there are so many different cases, and the rate, and to be honest, the rate of the success is much higher than the rate of the failure. There are only few cases I saw, like somebody had an ovarian cancer and fenbendazole couldn't treat it, but they didn't talk what dosage they took, how long they take it, what stage they were. The information was very shallow. So these are all the information for today. I hope it was interesting for you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, because I'm going to talk about ivermectin and methylene blue, which also could be used for the same, which always has been used for the same perception, for the same purpose. I hope this I hope this video is interesting for you. If you're interested to know more about ivermectin and methylene blue that has been used for the same purpose, don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time.